Call to order. This is the Kingsburg Public Safety Tax Citizens Oversight Committee, Tuesday, May 12th, 2026 at 4 p.m. Meeting held at this council chamber. And I need a motion to approve the agenda. Approve the agenda to better accommodate members of the public or inconvenience in the order of presentation. Items on the agenda may not be presented or acted upon in the order listed. Additions to the agenda may be added only pursuant to California Government Code Section 5495.2B. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
Second.
I move.
Thank you.
I second.
Thank you. Presentations and informal reports. Oh, I'm sorry. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Presentations and informal reports, which we have none. Public comment. This provides an opportunity for members of the public to address the committee on items of interest to the public within the committee's jurisdiction and which are not already on the agenda this afternoon. It is the policy of the committee not to answer questions impromptu. Speakers should limit their comments not more than 3 minutes. For items which are not on the agenda this evening, the members of the public will be provided an opportunity to address the committee as each item is brought up for discussion. Do we have any public comment at this time? Hearing none, we will go to the regular calendar. Approve minutes from the May 19th, 2025 regular meeting as presented by City Clerk Abigail Palsgard. Do I have a motion to approve last year's meeting minutes?
So move.
Second.
Second. Awesome. I'll say all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No. Okay, number 2 on the regular calendar, Measure E 2025-26 update and 2026-27 budget planning, staff report by City Manager Alexander Henderson, and presentation by Police Chief Sean Stevens and Fire Chief Rodney Roberts.
Good afternoon, Chairman Buckner and members of the Public Safety Oversight Committee. I appreciate you being here today. This is a meeting of a group that was established as part of the original Measure E ballot measure in 2018 as part of our transparency and accountability portion of that measure and the ordinance that was adopted by the council. This meeting is part of our annual development of the budget. And so staff is here to provide an overview of activity related to the voter-approved 1% public safety tax, also known as Measure E, which was approved by 72% of voters during the June 5th, 2018 election. This is a local tax, this is a district tax, excuse me, which are imposed under transaction and use tax law. And the total tax rate in Kingsburg is 8.975%, which includes the statewide 7.25% plus the 1% for our public safety district tax and 0.725% for Fresno County. As I mentioned, this is a transaction use tax, which is allocated to the jurisdiction where the tax product is received or registered, as in the case of a motor vehicle purchase. Because of this, Measure E's 1% revenue collections are much higher than the 1% local jurisdiction place of sale or use. So for example, if a consumer purchases a new motor vehicle and registers it in Kingsburg, the place of residence, the city receives a 1% sales tax for that vehicle for the purposes of Measure E. The same applies to destination-based purchases, which is especially relevant for online activity, which saw a sharp increase during the pandemic. Initially, conservative estimates forecasted that Measure E would generate approximately $1 million annually. Fortunately, receipts have exceeded those estimates by more than double since the first full year of inception. For fiscal year 26, revenues are expected to be about $2.6 million. And since inception, the city has received over $17 million in cash receipts. As many of you are probably aware, Measure E went into effect on October 1, 2018 for a period of 10 years, as outlined in the original ballot language. Unless it's extended, Measure E will expire on September 30th, 2028. Because of the impact on our police and fire departments, the city's finance committee began discussing renewal efforts for the measure in February of 2025. And ultimately, the city council supported and voted to place a renewal effort on the June 2nd, 2026 election. So this evening, there are a number of items in your packet, including a summary, also a total of revenues as well as expenditures for both police and fire, and then a fund balance worksheet that shows actual data going back to fiscal year 23, and as well as projected revenues and expenditures for the current year and what we are proposing for the upcoming year. And I will turn it over to Chief Stevens. I believe he's going to go first, and then they will each give you individual reports for their departments, but happy to answer any questions when they're complete. Thank you.
Good afternoon, committee members, Madam Chair. Chief Stevens, Kingsburg Police Department, apologize, for the Oversight Committee for the recap of the 25-26 fiscal year spending and the upcoming fiscal year spending for the police department. So part of our spending plan for the 25-26, the training plan, the peace officer skills and specialty training, individual assignment and investigative training, technical and investigative conferences, women leadership development, new laws and regulation training. Some of those have been completed and some of them are ongoing as our officers continually have to take different trainings to stay up to date with the regulations of the state. Here's a partial list of some of the things we've done this year. We've sent our officers to peer support training. So we have a peer support program within the department. We send our some of the officers that are interested in that to this training so they can be available to other officers that are going through incidents that they might need some support. We sent our chaplains to a chaplain training in Fresno that was very instrumental. As you know, they go out on several of our calls. If we have an incident where a chaplain is needed, we can call our chaplains. They go out and respond and help families in need. And they're also a great asset to the police officers, as several of them are mentors and help the officers if they're going through something. Arrest and control update, instructor courses, vehicle containment, where we send officers out and they learn how to, follow vehicles, and then if they need to contain them, if they're in a special unit, things like that. CSTI, which is an officer safety course, they spend a week doing several different things, shooting, building searches, that type of training to keep their skills up. Title 15, which is our jail inspection training. Every officer has to go through it every 2 years. We sent a couple of our officers to the Smith & Wesson Armor course. We just transitioned to that gun, and we have to have people in-house that can work on those guns if there's a malfunction or something breaks. Surveillance and fundamentals, again, we send our detectives and some of the people in our special units to this because at times they do have to follow people and surveil them. We sent a couple of officers to our Law Enforcement Drone Association training. So they went and learned how to pilot drones, and more importantly, the aspects of tracking the drones when they fly, the transparency issue with the public. And that's what that training was. The sexual assault investigations, and again, the National Association of School Resource Officers. So we try to keep our school resource officers as up to date as possible with the training they need. Some of the other things that we're doing is leadership training. We are always looking to send our officers and command staff to different leadership trainings. I was fortunate enough to attend an FBI law enforcement executive development leadership training. We send our other officers to, it's called Sherman Block Supervisor Leadership Institute, which is It's a 8-month course. It's basically a week, a month for 8 months. And at the end of that, they graduate, which is pretty prestigious for our supervisors. We send people to the Central California Women's Conference in Fresno, and then we send them to the Women's Leadership in Law Enforcement, which is a pretty big deal with the California Police Chiefs Association. They actually help to host that. All of our training includes our professional staff, our sworn staff, and at times our chaplains, our volunteer staff, that when we can send them to different trainings. The personnel that we fund with the 25-26 Measure E was 1 police service technician. So our professional staff in the front office, lobby, they greet you, they help people with the phones, things like that. A percentage is covered with my salary. We have 2 police lieutenants' salaries that are in there, 1 police sergeant and 4 police officers. So we fund 8 full-time Measure E positions and a partial position with me. And then with the 4 professional staff and the 25 sworn staff that we have a total of 29 full-time employees at the police department. So our plan coming up, we will continue funding the police service technician position, a portion of my salary, the 2 police lieutenants, the 1 police sergeant, and the 4 police officers. So that hasn't changed. So we will continue to fund 8.25 full-time positions with the police department. And again, that brings us to 29 full-time employees with Measure E, General Fund, and a couple other third-party vendors like the SRO positions, and then we have a person on the ACT team. So part of our spending that we got a few years ago was our body-worn camera program. Measure E funds that. We are on year 4 of a 5-year subscription, which is approximately $75,000 a year. And then we just put in to get 9 flock ALPR and PTZ or Zoom cameras for the downtown areas and a couple areas out in the town. We already have 8 flock cameras throughout the town, so this will add to our deployment. And our training plan, our peace officer specialty training, we'll continue to send people to the investigative training, supervisor and leadership conferences, our women in leadership. That's very important to us. We want to send our female officers to as much leadership training as we can to develop all of our people. And then the new laws and regulation training, whether it's Liberty Cassidy and Whitmore, which is the attorney group, or Central San Joaquin Valley Risk Management Assessment. So for that, we fund, with the officers comes cost, office supplies, safety equipment. So if you need ammunition, new holsters, bulletproof vests, ballistic helmets, whatever that officer needs, we fund that as well. Screening personnel, if somebody leaves, it's a Measure E position. We have to backfill that position, which, we have to backgrounds and medicals and site costs and all that. So it helps fund that. Department tools, again, things that the officers need out on the street, whether it's a camera, things like that. That funds communications. All of our body-worn cam, our in-car camera system, our MDTs, our cell phones, things that the department needs. That's what the communication is. Vehicle maintenance. So if a vehicle has issues, repair costs, tires, things like that, will help cover that. And of course, fuels and then equipment maintenance. So our high school and the junior high SRO funds they are both supplemented or helped fund with the Measure E, and that covers safety equipment, department tools, communication, vehicle maintenance, fuels, and training and education, just like the other officers with Measure E. So that's the elementary school district and the high school district are both funded the same amounts, and that's the presentation for the police department. Thank you for your time and attention and for your civic participation on the council. Thank you.
All right. Perfect.
Good afternoon, committee members and chair. Thank you for allowing me to come up here and tell you a little bit about the fire department and where we've been allocating money with Measure E. I press the top button. Okay. There you go. All right, I'm ready for the next. All right, so Measure E for fiscal year 25-26 expenditures for personnel, we implemented the following personnel allocations for 24-25 and continue them for 26-27. We fund 3 fire captains, 1 fire apparatus engineer, and 1 part-time administrative assistant. So 4 full-time positions and 1 part-time position with the fire department. And then with the city finance personnel, it's 50% of account clerk and then 17% of an accountant. And that's split in between the fire department, police department, and public works. So in total for the fire department, we have 18 full-time personnel that are safety. And then we have 6 part-time personnel that are safety also. And so they come in and help supplement. Our daily staffing is 6. And so we don't have any overstaffing. So when we have vacancies, either vacation, sick leave, maternity, any of those things, the part-time actually come in and help us out quite a bit so that we could give some of our full-time personnel a day off. With the M&O, maintenance and operations, for what Measure E funds with tools and supplies, it's $45,000. And mainly what we've been looking with that is standardizing our equipment across the board, is that standardizing the equipment that we have on all of our fire engines and make sure that those compartments are all the same, even with our backup rigs, so that we're not moving equipment from the front line to the back or to the reserve rigs. Especially if we were to have a large fire here in the city, is that we would be bringing off-duty personnel in and they would be staffing those rigs. So we want to make sure that they have a full complement and that they're ready to go. And that, or if we have one that breaks down, with a call pending, is that we could just jump into one of those other rigs and have a full complement on the fire engine. And so we're looking at standardizing. We've been purchasing extrication tools, and also along with it, the never ending of personal, equipment or personal protective equipment, which is our turnouts that we wear, and they have a 10-year life expectancy on them. And so, and they have to go in for testing and they have routine maintenance. And it's one of the things that with Cal OSHA that we saw a change last year, that we're having to abide by a lot more rules for it. And so, and they're definitely not cheap for a fire department. So, but it is to keep our personnel safe. So we are going to make sure that we're following all the regulations with that. With communications, another $45,000. We've been also standardizing our radios that we have across the board, and that's making sure that we have the radios that we could communicate with our partners that are outside of Kingsburg, and making sure that with either CAL FIRE, Kings County, Tulare County, City of Selma, that we're able to get on the right channels and have the right tones, and that everybody has pretty much, that we're trying to standardize the same radio. So the functionality of it, that if you get a backup radio, it's going to be the same. And in an emergency situation, it's always muscle memory. And so we want to make sure that we're updating our radios and that we're just standardizing that across the board. We also were able to, the Public Works Department was no longer using their radio that was up on the water tower. And so we were able to get a second channel. And so we have a backup channel besides our main channel now, and it's a 50-watt repeater. And so we were able to get that underneath the fire department. And then we also purchased 2 TAC channels. And so a TAC channel is what we operate. It's not a repeated channel. It doesn't bounce off the radio tower. It would be that if I was standing in front of the city hall here and had a firefighter inside, it's a talk around. So it's just radio to radio, and it actually works better to penetrate walls. And so that was something I felt like it was a need for the fire department. So we were able to purchase 2 of those this year, just to bring our modernize our radio equipment. Once we switched radio dispatch, and so I wanted to make sure that along with switching radio dispatches from CAL FIRE to EMS communication, that we had other things to go with it that when we switched over. And so it's a little bit of a work in progress. We updated the radio racks inside underneath the coffee pot tower. That some of them didn't meet earthquake regulations. So with the help of Jay's Communication, they came in there and identified that. And we just, with the police department, updated some of the racks that are in there and updated the batteries to make sure that we have consistent communication here in the city of Kingsburg. So, professional services, those are more or less things that we're contracted, some of the emails and phones and different things that we have within the city. And then also with the training and education, we've been really focusing on conferences and making sure that we have the best equipment here in Kingsburg and the latest techniques that are out there. This year, we went to a new video glidoscope that we could actually, when we go and intubate somebody, when we put a tube inside of their trachea, that it has a video that we could actually see it now, and it has a little screen. And so we got all new ones of those at a cost, and along with the training that goes for each person in our department and standardizing it across the board. We want to make sure if we need to intubate somebody, we have the best things in Kingsburg. And the same thing with interosseous, which is an easy IO. It's easy when it's called easy IO. But if you can't get an IV on a person, if you can't find a vein, it will go and the needle actually goes into your bone, and we could deliver medications and fluid and everything else through that. And it works really well when we can't find a vein. And sometimes in emergency situations that we need to use that. So that was another thing that we purchased this year and standardized it across the board. And like I said, we're doing everything we can here in Kingsburg to bring the best equipment, the best training for our personnel here. So along with the conferences, we have somebody right now in Minneapolis, Darius Rodriguez, one of our engineers. He's in Minneapolis for the week at a conference, and that is our reporting system, which is called Image Trend. So that he is basically probably at a middle level of knowledge on it. We want to get him to an expert knowledge. And so he's out there right now for the week and participating with that. And that's the first time that we have attended that. And so hoping for great things when he comes back. So, and then we also still, just along with that, we do have 2 people in paramedic school. That's always a challenge to get paramedics, any department that is out there, but especially here in Kingsburg, we haven't seen the numbers that we'd want. So we're trying to train our own. And so we had the opportunity with Bakersfield College to do a hybrid program, and they go 1 day a week. And so we have 2 people in there, and they've made it through the first portion of it, and we're going to get them through the second portion. And then we'll have two more paramedics here on our department. And that will be a wonderful thing. And so just training our own. You can see here on Misery 24-25, some of the capital outlay that we had. We've paid the balance of the fire engine. The fire engine is here. It works wonderfully. We are very excited about it, and just having new equipment and reliable equipment, and just building the fleet and and the backup rigs that we have also. And so some of the things that we had is we finished off the rest of the money that we needed to buy equipment for it, and equipment is not cheap, and that was probably about another, besides buying the fire engine, it's about another $100,000. So and some of that stuff takes a little while to get in, the lead time on it. So we're getting on that equipment came in, and everyone's really happy, and we're actually doing a little bit of work on on the engine that it replaced right now, and updating a few things on that so that we could get some more life out of that, and it hopefully last another 5 years to maybe 10 years as a backup rig. And it actually is our first out engine over at Station 2. So we cross staff at that station. It is a ambulance that's there every single day, but we usually put our acting captains and acting engineers at that station. So when we get a fire call here in Kingsburg, they get off the ambulance and they jump on the fire engine, and they're responding to calls. And I've seen it work great now. I'm really excited about it every time I see a fire call come out and I see that unit from Station 2 jump on and go do it. It just brings safety and, a better way of, a quicker way of extinguishing fires here. And so we had the push-in ceremony with State Senator Melissa Hurtado. It was a great day pushing in the fire engine and putting that thing into service. And we really appreciate her helping us out to purchase that. For 26-27 capital outlay, we're already saving for our next fire engine. And so that's one of the things with the fire department, where the police department has a lot of other things. Their cars are a little bit cheaper, so they have a little bit more leeway in the funds. But when we have to save for our next fire engine, that right now today would be probably about $1.3 million for what we got for $944 the last time. Who knows what it'll be by the time we're purchasing the next one. So we're saving about $110,000 a year for the next one. I don't know if it's going to be enough at the time, but we've got to start somewhere, and that's where we're starting right now. And so along with that is $20,000 for turnouts, PPE. That's just a recurring cost that we're going to just have to evaluate every year. A lot of our turnouts, I think probably in the next 2 years, 18 pairs of turnouts are going to expire. And so a lot of those are in reserve status that we use for some of our part-timers. And then also we get interns from Fresno City College, and we outfit them also in turnouts because they're a fully capable firefighter, and we get the luxury of having their knowledge and capability without paying their salary. So we make sure that they have good turnouts to wear. So. Along with 26, 27 expenditures, we're going to continue with the same thing that we've been doing in the past, and that's the 3 captains, the 1 engineer, and the 1 part-time administrative assistant, and still continuing the 50% of the account clerk and also 17% of the accountant. And so nothing's changing there for this next year. And that's all I have for my presentation. If you have any questions, if not, I appreciate your time.
Stand by. I lost my page. Sorry. Do I just ask for any questions? Is there any questions for our presentation? No. I have a question for the police chief about the cameras that you mentioned. I don't know if I heard what they're called. Are they
The body worn cameras or the flock cameras?
the flock?
Flock,
Yes,
FLOCK. Yeah, those are they are ALPR cameras, so they capture license plates as cars drive past them.
Oh, okay.
And with those, we've been able to link crimes all the way back, vehicles coming from LA area and doing a crime in Kingsburg. So with Flock, you can share them with other agencies within the state of California. Just police, sheriff, things like that. We can't share it with any federal agencies, only law enforcement. So we can get data from across the state with whoever else has flock cameras. So we can see vehicles as they travel through California with those cameras, and they've really helped us in our investigative tools with finding vehicles and people related to crimes that are occurring here in Kingsburg.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any further questions? Other business? Yeah, didn't Alex do the staff report? Recommended action by Public Safety Tax Citizens Oversight Committee. Do I read the rest? Let's see, I'm so sorry. I'm not seeing. Do I say staff the number 1? I'm sorry. Staff recommends committee review the information and accept the budget in compliance with resolution 2018-051. And then do we make a
I
motion?
make a motion to accept the budget.
Do I have a second?
I second the motion.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Sorry. Motion accepted. And then are we adjourned? Or other business. I'm sorry, I'm not following this very easily. Is there any other business? None? Now we are adjourned.